When I'm playing Osu, I'm always trying my best to play as well as I can. This means hitting every circle, hitting every 300, not misreading, mistiming, or misaiming any note. Essentially, I'm trying to be as perfect as possible. To be perfect. To be entirely without fault or defect. To be as good as it is possible to be. This means when I hit 100, I'm inherently imperfect. I've dropped accuracy. I've dropped my SS. There is now a flaw in my play. An imperfection. I fixate myself on this. I know I have the ability to hit 300s if I don't misread or misaim, so why did I hit 100 just then, even when all else was perfect? It's a flaw I have, and it's a flaw known as perfectionism. If something isn't perfect, it is wrong, bad, negative, and any other descriptive to convey it as unwanted. But in this game, what exactly is perfection? When a map is given its initial settings, there are 4 to change. HP drain, circle size, approach rate, and overall difficulty. Of these, HP drain is out of our influence completely, since even if you play perfectly, the HP bar will still bounce around and try to constantly drain. The other 3, however, are settings that introduce the circles to us, and even then, approach rate doesn't matter too much if you've memorized the map. The 2 I'd like to focus on are circle size and overall difficulty. The former establishes how large the circles are when they appear on screen, and the latter establishes the window in which you can tap them and score a 300. This is very important information to our perception of perfection. If I were to aim at a circle of size 10, the area in which I can place my cursor and achieve a hit is very small. If we were taking perfection to mean no flaws or defects, I would have to aim at the very centre of each circle. However, this is obviously not the case. I can aim anywhere within this tiny circle. And this is a big deal. Suddenly, assuming the use of a 1920 by 1080 resolution, my hittable area goes from 1 pixel to 1385. Instead of having to aim at one exact spot, I'm given a circular area of 1385 exact spots, and I can aim at any one. Suddenly, I no longer have to be perfect, I only have to play within this boundary. And reducing the circle size, I can see that this boundary increases with the decrease in circle size, which is quite entertaining in itself, since a decreasing circle size contradictingly increases the size of the circles. Go figure. I think you understand my point by now, and how it applies to overall difficulty as well. To achieve perfection in this game, we don't have to be perfect. We have to hit within the circle boundary, and within the 300 timing window set by each individual map. Perfection, then, is a range. But hold on, you say, an SS is perfect. You can't get better than an SS, especially on a map with no spinners. And I agree, but also disagree. There is a metric that you can see on the score screen to do with accuracy called unstable rate. This is calculated from the average position in the timing window that you hit each note, with lower numbers meaning less wander within this window. An unstable rate of 150 means you were timing very irregularly, hitting late, early, and everywhere in between, whereas a rate of 60 means you were very tightly grooved around the centre of your timing. You can score an SS with an unstable rate of 60. You can also score an SS with an unstable rate of 150. Which is better? Are both perfect? Is the former score a higher form of perfection? Can perfection have a higher form? Let's stop confusing ourselves here. They still both lie inside the range of perfection this game sets, and neither is definitively perfect since the unstable rate and error margins are not 0. But they're perfect enough. Both scores are good enough, accurate enough, that the game is not able to define a fault, and you score 100% SS rank and earn the most score possible. However, an SS is not completely perfect. It's not the maximum possible score you can get on the map. I'm talking of course about modifications. Mods are included in the game to allow us to increase the difficulty in return for more score rewarded. This means by extension that an SS is not the highest achievable score, since you can add hidden, hard rock, even double time or flashlight to the map and be able to earn more score than you could originally. Meaning, an SS is still perfection within boundaries. For example, on this map, the maximum score is about 5.8 million using no mod. This is the most possible score you can achieve without adding a mod, so in that sense, you've played it perfectly. After adding hidden or hard rock, however, the map now has a maximum score of about 6.1 million. After adding double time or flashlight, the maximum score is 6.4 million, and combining them all, the final maximum score is around 8.1. Considering this, can you say that your score of 5.8 million is perfect when there is the potential to score a further 2.3 million points? Yes. Yes, you can. The defined boundary for what is accepted as perfection says that on a no-mod score, this 5.8 million is a perfect score. Who cares if you could get 300,000 more points another way? You played the map your way and achieved your perfection. Now, let's bring back that second part of the definition, to be as good as it is possible to be. This sounds more like it. This allows us to work with the idea of boundaries, since scoring higher than an SS isn't possible, but it also allows us to go a step further and define our own boundaries for ourselves. For example, I know I can hit these 8-star jumps. I have hit them many times in the past, and I will hit them many more times as I continue to attempt this map. However, I have also missed on them many more times than I've hit them. Is hitting every jump perfection? Yes, since that's as good as it is possible to be. However, to put the analogy from before in mind, hitting the 300 doesn't have to be exactly perfectly on time, it can be within a boundary. Therefore, I can set an upper boundary of misses that I can get to still consider this section played well enough, or perfect, so that I don't push for true perfection each time. See where I'm going with this? You don't have to hit every map perfectly every time. Set yourself some boundaries, your own specifically for you, taking into account your own abilities and what you, not someone else, can do. Of course, don't be too upset if and when you fail to meet them. We all hit 100 sometimes, no matter how perfect we are. Admittedly, this is kind of a message to myself, as well as an informational video to you. I attack myself constantly for not being as good as I know I can be. However, if I can change my way of thinking to set boundaries for my own perfection, then I'm certain you can too. And after setting these boundaries, the only way upwards is by pushing them at a natural speed, little by little, until they are synonymous with the map's own boundaries for perfection. And if they go too far, well, nobody said those sliders can't be dragged to the left as well as the right. To conclude, perfection is the product of boundaries set by the map in its settings. As long as your cursor is within the circle, and as long as you tap within the 300 hit window, you will hit the note perfectly, no matter how off-center your cursor is or off-timed your tap comes. This idea can be broadened and applied to your play, since nobody can constantly play perfectly, but everybody can play within boundaries. Don't set them too low or you will never push, but don't set them too high or you will succumb to toxic perfectionism. Do, however, remember these powerful words. Please enjoy game.